Hey, what's happening folks? Sean here, and I'm going to ask for your patience just for 2 seconds. I'm actually recording this in a couple of different ways today to put it across different social media platforms. So I just want to make sure that everything is running and going the way that it should so that we can dive straight into this. So just bear with me for literally 2 seconds while I make sure we're all good to go. Yeah, so I'm actually primarily recording this in Loom, which I'll be popping over in my Facebook group a little bit later, but I'm also recording for YouTube, and I've also got another recorder going over there for some short form video content as well. So don't want to keep you hanging for too long, so let's just dive straight into this. So folks, wherever you're coming from in the world, would love to hear it down below in the comments. Give me a hashtag where you're from, and another hashtag letting me know where you're actually catching this, whether it's on Facebook or YouTube or one of the other platforms that you could be actually watching this on. Would love to hear where you catch it live. But folks, I am jumping onto this training today because I've been having some great conversations over in my DMs with different leads and also with clients who are having a few challenges with content. Now, content was definitely my Achilles heel when I got started online, and I never really had clarity on how to take my content and use it to convert high-paying clients. Now, there's obviously a lot of different ways that you can convert high-paying clients online, but I knew that you could leverage content creation on the front of the business and let that do all the heavy lifting for you, and really just take the pressure off the sales process. And I was seeing it actively all the time. I just didn't really know how to make it work in my own business. And so basically when things changed for me in 2022 and I locked into a process which was heavily leaning into content creation, I've actively used this as part of my process to convert high-paying clients. So, with that in mind, I've actually created a 15-page playbook, which we'll go through now, and just talking about the most vital parts of content creation that are going to help you convert clients, into high-paying customers. Convert leads into high-paying customers. So yeah, let's dive straight into the doc. We'll kind of go through it together, and then if you'd like a copy of it, depending on where you are and watching this, it's either going to be above the video or it's going to be below the video, and it will be the complimentary doc which you can get once we've actually gone through this. So folks, your content will only start to do the heavy lifting in your business when you create it with specificity and relevancy. And I've said it here, but for fun, just try and say specificity about 5 times. I actually could never really say that word, but I practiced it enough that I can say it now. But I never really understood this part at the beginning, and was super frustrating to be creating content every day that actually wasn't converting clients, right? So once I understood why, not only did my style of content change, but folks were taking the next step in the customer journey, and I was building relationships at scale that helped me acquire new clients. Now, better still, retain them for months and years to come, which is the best part of business anyway. So today what I want to do is dive into 3 steps that you can start to implement immediately to create content that's going to start to convert. The first one is going to be the different styles of content you can create to convert clients. The second will be how to create content with specificity and relevancy. And the third will be acquisition and retention of clients through content creation. So let's dive into the different styles of content you can create to convert clients. Now, there's 2 styles of content that I've used over the last couple of years to grow the business to multi-6 figures and convert a slew of different offers with different price ranges, right? So the first being short form video content, which is anything from 15 to 90-second reels. And these serve really as a highlight reel to your brand and cast a wide net to attract and amass a large audience. Now, the whole purpose of your short form videos is going to be to entertain people, educate them and inspire them. And I think folks put a lot of pressure on short form video, and that they make it complex or complicated, and really it's just keeping it simple, keeping it fun, keeping it light, and really just creating in a way that's going to attract an audience which is just like you. Plus, it's a great complement to your overall brand visibility. So what I've done on the doc is actually shared an example of a short form video. And I've been running with about 3 or 4 different styles of short form video now since I started using it, and really aim to do anything between 2 to 3 videos a day when I am online, which is normally 5 days a week. And depending on how quickly you want to grow and what your content goals are. But I would certainly recommend this as part of your content goal. It was definitely a catalyst to the massive growth that I started to have in 2022 was really to just put my face out there and my voice. And what that does is it's really just attracting an earlier version of yourself. So it's just magnificent as far as amassing an audience for yourself. And then the second one is long form written content. So, once folks take the next step and land on a more detailed overview of what you do, your long form content can give folks deep clarity on things like who you are. Okay, people really want to know your backstory, where you come from, how you actually landed online and how you started to document your story. Folks want to know what you know and how you know it. It's not just random that you landed here. There has to be a reason that you know what you do, and a reason how you know it. So, it gives you lots of different angles that you can start to share with regards to that. Folks want to know how you help folks specifically, who specifically you help as well, what you have to offer, your different values, your lifestyle, your insights, your epiphanies, everything that you're actively doing and going through, on your online journey. And I've also attached a long form content example as well. So this is also going to help you grow relationships at scale as folks start to consume more and more of what you actually document. And the rule of thumb I would recommend with your content creation is just to keep it 80-20, right? And also to look at a handful of different creators that you're vibing with and who you follow and how they're creating their content and what you can extract from that you really enjoy, that you can use in your own style and delivery when it comes to creating content of your own. As far as the 80-20 rule, I just think there's nothing worse than only hearing and reading about business, and personally find it super boring. So I think 20% of the time it's great to hear about things that are actively happening in the business, and this is where you can be sharing things like money you've made, different client results, results of your own, tactics and strategies that you're using in your business, and to help clients, etc. You can be diving into trainings just like this one, different frameworks, different how-to guides, step-by-steps, things like that, right? But 80% of the time, I really love to get to know the folks I'll be working with, both in terms of my own coaches and with clients. It's really important to find alignment with people and have clarity on who they are and how they specifically operate so that if you can vibe together. And in fact, I bought the product that changed everything for me in 2022, Group Juice, not because it was and is the solution to countless elements of starting and scaling an online business, no matter what you sell, but because one of the creators is a pitbull daddy. And that was as good as saying, show me where to send the money. If he'd been an asshole, his product would not have mattered to me in the slightest. So you really have to create with that in mind and document your story, right? Not only will people get to know, like, and trust you, as cliche as that saying goes, it's really what makes you operate well in a business. But your unique story makes you stand out in a sea of other marketers and business owners, right? So it's really just going to give you the edge. And outside of the style of content, I would recommend that you weave through different types of content too. So primarily there's 5 types of content that I lean towards and which make up my hard content framework. I actually created this framework in early 2022 when I started to make this transition with content. And I've attached that as well to the doc, so when you actually take your copy, be sure to check this out as well. But what they've broken down into is number 1 being the heart, so you can really start to incorporate content where you're speaking from your own point of view. What's changed for you, why you started it, what perspectives you've had, what epiphanies you've had, and things that have actively gone on in your personal life that complement your business or whatever it is you're trying to achieve. I create content that's educational or to entertain an audience as well. So, you will hear about this a lot as you start your online endeavors, or if you're in the middle of it already, is the RVL formula, which is results, value, and lifestyle. So, when you're educating folks, it really leans into the value side of things. So possibly things that you're actively learning or things that you're actually getting success in, you can really start to lean into the value side of your content and start to educate folks on different parts of whatever it is you're trying to help folks achieve. The third part will be for action, and that's really leaning into content that's going to get people to raise their hands, be it to something that you have available like a resource or a framework or a template or a training. Normally you'll see them in like a purple post or a red post where folks, something like similar to this, where I actually drop this training and then I can go to my profile and say, hey, I've actually just dropped a training on this playbook over in my group, hands up if you want it. So it's really just to get folks in your audience to take action on something that you've got. The fourth is on results, so you can be sharing either results of your own, client results, community results if you're part of community and they're getting results. And I would do that actively anyway. You want to let folks know that what you've got on offer or what you're part of is actually actively helping folks, get specific outcomes. And the fifth part of this framework I like to call TRIP. So it's really where you get the opportunity to take your audience down a journey of what you do outside of your business and what your lifestyle is all about. So, whether you like to do trail runs or you're an athlete or you like to spend time with the family or go to movies or whatever it is you like to do outside of your normal working time, right? So the second part of this is how to create content with specificity and relevancy. And this is going to be a huge determining factor in the success of your content to conversion process. Now, a huge mistake folks make is putting their focus on how much engagement and virality you get on your content. Now, I was also one of them, if I'm completely honest, and it came down to my lack of understanding of the elements that matter to delivering content with a goal in mind, right? It makes your ego feel absolutely amazing when you get hundreds of likes and comments on your posts, but your ego is going to be equally slammed when months later none of that equates to actual dollars. Now I've put a couple of examples here, and one example is the content that I was actually writing in 2021 versus the content that I do now. Now at the time in 2021, the process I was taught on was to prime my feed for anything from 1 to 2 hours a day to trick the algo into giving me massive reach, which it did on most of my posts. Anything from 100 plus on most of them, and some even made it to the 500 plus mark. And it might have looked good on paper to folks that I was getting all of this engagement and this reach and all these random comments, etc. But the problem was that I had absolutely no clue how to take all of those views through the rest of my sales process or convert that into clients. And although I made 9K in 2021, it was not repeatable and definitely not sustainable for that matter, because who has 2 hours a day to aimlessly engage in content just to try and boost the algo, right? It doesn't really give you time to do anything outside of that, like creating a training or like designing a resource like a playbook or like having conversations, with the folks that you're actually actively talking to. And at the time, I didn't have reliable internet or electricity. So the bulk of the time that I had available was being spent, trying to boost my algorithm for all of that reach and engagement, which wasn't equating to anything, right? So the content was also completely irrelevant to my brand, and it broke down something that has absolutely nothing to do with my business or specifically how it was going to help folks, right? In contrast to the second piece, which I created earlier this week. And now these days my reach is much smaller, but it's landing on folks' eyes who are very aligned with what I do as a brand owner and how I can specifically help them in their business or in their process or whatever it is they're hoping to achieve, right? And the content is much more specific and relevant to my business and has a very clear goal with the sales process to lead folks through the customer journey. And although it might not be as exciting to see numbers that are still single digits, this version has helped me create 6 figures a year since 2022 and retain clients for years at this point. Some of my highest paying clients have come from content that has very few likes and hardly any engagement. And that's because a lot of the content prior to this is where all the heavy lifting takes place. And it all comes back to being super specific and keeping things relevant to your brand and what it is that you actually offer and how you help folks, right? So you can be documenting your perspectives, your different epiphanies as you grow and scale your brand. You can definitely be diving into client wins and personal wins of your own. Talk about real-time strategies and methods that are actually actively working for you. Real-time frustrations and struggles that you have yourself. It makes it really relatable when folks can see that you're a human and you're going through all of these things in real time anyway, right? You can be talking about things you do and don't like in the marketplace, the different tools that you use, things that work or don't work in your process. What you help folks do, how you help them, okay, who specifically you help, what you value, and equally what you don't. There's really a lot of different layers and a lot of different angles that you can go at in terms of building your brand, building the visibility, and getting folks to know exactly who you are specifically and with relevance to how you can help them, right? And then the third part of this is we're going to dive into the acquisition and retention of clients through content creation. Now, as you start to get things in place with your content and your brand really starts to grow and sales start to stack, you'll learn the importance of not only the acquisition process of your clients, but the retention rate that you hold with them, right? So if you're in this game for the long term, which I presume you are, then retaining business for years to come will be super important for your business. You know, it's much easier and much more sustainable to start your month with recurring business than to have to start at zero month on month and look for new clients. And this is where the power of cultivating a community of your own is so very vital. You know, it's a place you can nurture your leads and clients for the long term. And outside of content creation, this is the one step I took that absolutely changed the game in 2022. You know, so it doesn't matter where you decide to start a community. There's obviously many options available. You know, be it Facebook groups, school groups, there's WhatsApp groups, there's Discord. I know there's many more outside of that. It's really just about choosing one, and the trick is just to start, right? And it's the same for any business model too. You know, if bodybuilders didn't have a place to come to lift weights every day, a gym wouldn't make any money. Okay, if a tool shop had a storefront but no tools or backup and support, you guessed it, right? It's not going to make any money. So if your leads land on your profile and have no place to go to get the goodies and the support and everything else, you'll lose them to somebody that actually has that type of environment, right? So it's the next step that folks can take in your customer journey once you've piqued their interest with your front-end content, be it short-form video or long-form written content, right? And we'll take folks one step closer to your acquisition step. Now, it's very rare that folks will become a paying client from seeing one piece of content. You know, has it happened to me? Yes. Does it happen, frequently? Definitely not. And unless they are highly problem and solution aware, it's going to take them time to trust you enough to give you their money. Okay, by having a community that they can come to, they can get deep clarity on the ifs and the hows until the timing is right for them to pull the proverbial trigger. And this is where you can also go top heavy on your acquisition content and deliver on things like high value trainings, okay, workshops, templates, resources, giveaways. You can do interviews, challenges. You can give away freebies, how-to guides, tools, tactics, anything that's going to help them progress and get micro wins in their business and build in those layers of trust with you that you can be the person that can actually help them solve their challenges, right? And continue to document in real time the daily happenings in your brand, right? So you have to remember that folks are all adults who don't actually like to be sold to and are normally very capable of making their own decisions when the time and offer is actually right for them. So the sooner you can start to give them a 300-foot overview of what it would be like to work with you, the more likely they are to move at speed through the different buckets of your process for them to become paying clients. Now, following this, your retention will normally come from your delivery and support and the results that your clients start to receive from working with you. You know, like the old saying goes, helping folks get what they want naturally helps you get what you want. So the sooner you can help folks get micro wins with what they want their outcomes to be, the more you can build trust and cement your relationships for the long term. Last but not least, there's going to be two things to remember with your content. Okay, one is make sure you have a clear goal and outcome with your content. So for example, let's say you want to grow your group by X members in the next 30 days, that being your goal, so that you can insert whatever outcome you want to have by growing your group by that many members in 30 days. You want to create your content in a specific and relevant format to complement that goal. So there has to be something in it for your audience to take the next step. And number two, you really have to optimize your content for the goal and outcome, right? So there's going to be 3 non-negotiables with your content if you hope that it's going to achieve something specific. The first one is going to be your hook, right? So this is where you capture your lead's attention so that they will be more likely to read the rest of your content. You know, if it's not specific and relevant, folks continue to scroll on by. So for example, here's 2 versions of a hook. The first one, not being super specific and being pretty basic, would be how to grow your group. Versus, this is one step you can take to grow your group by 200% in less than 2 months with high-paying clients, right? So the more you can dig into a specific challenge, outcome, solution in a hook, the more likely you are to extract leads, right? Number 2 is the meat and potatoes. So once you've hooked folks into your content, you want to share another preview of what folks can expect if they decide to take the next step after your content, right? So here you can highlight a few points that will complement your content goal and continue to take folks on the journey through your content. So for example, leading on from that hook, you could say, let's go back to the hook. This is one step you can take to grow your group by 200% in less than 2 months with high-paying clients, which took me from burnt out and frustrated with no clarity on my sales process to make my first 10K in 19 days after 19 months on the struggle bus, and a repeatable and sustainable plan to continue to scale my business. The one step I changed in the business to grow my group by 600 members in less than 2 months was by using the art of content creation and attracting high quality eyeballs to my business. Okay, the third one is going to be your call to action. So for all the content you create that has a goal or an outcome attached to it, you must make sure there's a call to action included. Okay, your leads need a gentle nudge in the right direction and need clarity on what the next step is to take. So ideally it should point towards a group of your own or whatever the next part of your process is going to be, right? So for example, leading on from the meat and potatoes, you could say, I've just dropped a 15-minute training over my group, breaking down in high detail the type of content you can create to grow your group astronomically before 2025 and convert high-paying clients to the tune of 1 to 10K before Christmas time. Drop a Santa baby down below if you want to catch the training or send over an invite. And that's going to make up the bulk of your content. So just remember, you've got to make sure there's a catchy hook full of meat and potatoes, which are going to be intriguing to whoever's interest is piqued, and make sure to follow on with a CTA. So off the back of that, guys, my challenge to you is this, right? Go ahead and create your first or next piece of content, right? Choose between short form video content or long form written content, whichever suits you best. Be sure it's relevant and specific to what you do in your business and brand, and make sure to optimize it with a goal in place, and be sure that it's got the hook, meat and potatoes, and call to action. And then go ahead and drop it in my DMs. If you are catching this on YouTube, be sure to get the document that's attached to this video, and you'll be able to click through to actually send me a DM. Pop over your piece of content to my DMs and I'll be happy to swing some tailored feedback for you on that. So folks, I hope this has given you a good 300-foot overview of the things to pay attention to when it comes to content that converts, and really just get out there and start creating. Document your journey, talk about things that are actively happening. The more that you can get out there and get visibility and some omnipresence, the more you can really start to extract an audience and grow things out at scale. So folks, we'll catch you on the next one. If you got value from this, be sure to drop a hashtag value down in the comments. And we'll catch you on the next training.